Okay, today I'm repatching the hole from the AC I removed from the roof of my van. I'm going to install a max air fan about 16 inches in front of where the old unit was mounted. Removing the old unit was fairly easy, just 4 bolts, remove the wiring, and then pull and gently remove it. I have a lot of algae and grime to clean, but that's what cleaners and wire brushes are for. Inside, you want to remove the old sealant with a wire wheel. It makes a big mess, so I highly recommend laying down something to catch it. It makes it a lot cleaner. You do the same thing on the roof, wire wheel, and clean that area up with all the old gasket. Use your wire wheel to clean the edges and the corners of paint and material. A really important step is to cover your roof before you do this so you don't get metal shavings everywhere. It'll cause itty bitty bits of rust, which are a pain in the ass to clean. Okay, and then if you're lucky, food will magically appear from the hole in your ceiling. That's breakfast. Next, you grind the paint down to bare metal with a patch panel will be attaching with the epoxy. Keep the roof covered so metal shavings don't get on your paint. Here's why. Those metal shavings are on my phone and my roof. Great. Use the wire wheel again to clean up the edges and corners of paint. Epoxy likes clean bare metal to adhere, and we really want adhesion. All right, so we went with the Magic Epoxy of 3M08115. It's designed for automotive panels. It should work perfectly. I was going to weld a patch panel in from a donor van. I even bought the welder, but it's been 20 years since I welded, and sheet metal welding is an art form on a good day. So after researching, I came up with a solution. Want me to weld a frame? Got it. Sheet metal? No. All right, so the epoxy comes with 2 mixing nozzles and instructions. Read them. It requires a clean surface, and just read the instructions. You'll also need a mixing gun. This stuff is great. It's messy, but great. So I highly recommend using gloves. And you'll need a spreader also, which I didn't know because I didn't think about it. But you'll want a spreader to spread the epoxy. And one kit should do about a 14 by 14 inch hole. So here's some details on the patch panel. You want to grind down the paint where it's going to adhere to the roof. I used my angle grinder, which should have a safety shield on it, but it doesn't because I bought it off Marketplace, and a diamond grinder bit. And just go through that, get your edges really clean. I went ahead later and used my wire brush because it made more sense and less work. Then I used a cutoff wheel from Temu because for how often I'll use it, that's fine. And I cut my panel down to size and tried to get it as square as possible. Okay, this is out of chronological order, but lay your panel on your roof, mark its size with a pencil so that you know how far to grind your paint down. You only want to grind about 1 inch past that for clear margins with the epoxy. And then after you grind it down, get it nice and clean. Use a solvent to clean the area around it so that it's a good surface for the epoxy to adhere to. Okay, now for the moment of truth and consequences. We are going to apply the epoxy to the opening of the roof on the bare metal. You want to put a good bead all the way around there, quite a few beads, and then take your spreader, or in my case, a plastic bolt holder, and spread that epoxy nice and evenly, filling all the holes, filling any bare metal spots, down into the nooks and crannies. Kind of like icing a cake, except I'm no cake decorator, and I can do this. So anyway, just really go around there. Make sure it's completely covered. Make sure your edges are good because that's where water can get underneath and cause rust in the future. So we just want to go all the way around, make sure it's good. If you need to, as you're doing this and you see that you have some little holes or areas that don't have or aren't covering well, just add a little bit more epoxy. But keep in mind that you have 1 tube of this, and it will do a 14 by 14 inch hole, but it won't do much more than that. So here we're going to apply the epoxy to our patch panel. You'll need more than I'm applying right there, but we'll get to that in a minute. So just apply that just like you did on the roof panel. Go all the way around it, come back through. Here we go, adding more, perfect. Use your spreader, spread it all out nice and evenly and smooth. Same thing, get all the nooks and crannies. I went with the 3M brand here. There are cheaper brands, but I trust 3M, and this is an area that I never want to have leak, so I went with 3M. So we're gonna go through, smooth all of this out, get all the bare metal covered as best we can. Make sure you get in those crevices, especially the ridges, really well. What you don't see here is you're going to apply a 1/4 inch bead all the way around the patch panel, about a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch from the edge, so that when you press it down, it will squeeze out the edges and ensure that you have a complete coverage around the entire patch panel. And then just apply pressure to the roof panel and do it all around the edges, the corners. Make sure you really push down on the ridges so that you're getting those low spots in there really well, and that it seals completely. Epoxy should squeeze out the edge, which is good. Keep in mind that epoxy will squeeze out the edges of the inside also, so make sure you have a cover inside your hand. You have something on the floor covering it, tarp or cardboard. So you want to take, and since you can't apply a clamp to this to apply pressure, I took a couple pieces of wood and then I pushed them down, and then I put a couple buckets of water on top of them just to apply pressure to ensure that they held in place and had a good sealing contact. Okay, so once it's cured, you're going to want to take and you can sand down the edges of the excess hardened epoxy, and you can make it look as nice as you like. I'm going to have 800 watts of solar on the roof, so nobody will ever see it. My main concern is rust, so I cleaned it up, and then I took Rust-Oleum and coated it 3 coats of paint so that I don't have rust. I did that on every edge that I hit, or every area that I hit with the sander or the grinder, just to ensure. I also went ahead and touched up a couple other areas that I noticed were having an issue. You'll want to then go inside and do the same thing. Sand down the edges, clean that mess up, spray paint all the exposed metal, make it look as nice as you like. I'm going to have insulation there, so it doesn't really matter to me. I did go back and fill those holes as well, 2 bolt holes there that I missed. And here we have our finished product. Looks nice, it's sealed, will never leak. So even though you don't know how to do it, you got to start somewhere, and this is a good place to start.